Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ann Winkel, and I'm excited to share with you today what I learned about action research in our first module in our class this summer about educational research. So let's begin. A little bit about me. I was born in north central Kansas in a small town called Glen Elder. I have a family of 5. My dad owns and operates Winkel Manufacturing, which they manufacture and sell livestock equipment in Glen Elder. My mom is the vice president of Farmer Credit Union, which is in Beloit, another small town not far away. I have an older brother. He works for NASA in Virginia. And then I have a younger sister who just completed her pharmacy degree, and she's going to start her first job in Kansas City this July. So exciting times for my family. I graduated at Beloit High School, which is not far from Glen Elder, in 2009. Then I went to Wichita and went to Wichita State and graduated in 2013 with a secondary math education degree. And then I hope coming soon in 2022 that I will have my master's degree in educational administration. Teaching jobs, I teach math. I taught at Truesdale Middle School for 5 years, which is part of Wichita Public Schools, the main district in Wichita. I taught there for my first 5 years, and then currently I teach at Heights, and this will start my 3rd year here in August. And that is kind of a history of my teaching. Other things I love to do, I love to coach, which I gave up coaching to work on my master's degree, but I did coach at Truesdale. I coached volleyball, basketball, track, coached basketball at Heights where I was an assistant, and then hopefully I can get back into it when I'm done with this degree. Other things I like to do are walking, and I love being outside, playing the piano. I love to tutor and help kids one-on-one with math, and then just being with my family and friends. Enough about me, let's talk about some action research. What is the purpose of action research? Action research is a systematic inquiry that uses a problem-solving cycle for improving organizations. From a teacher standpoint, it is an experiment to determine the best methods to get the best results from our students. So we figure out what needs to improve in our classroom, and we do this experiment per se to figure out how it works best in our classroom, and then we use it once we determine what is best. The 4 main types of action research are individual teacher, collaborative, which could be 1 or 2 teachers in the same department or different departments or same grade level. It could be school-wide or it can be district-wide. What is the goal of action research? The goal is to determine what is actually working in the classroom setting so educators can improve educational practices by continuously learning and reflecting to see an increase in student success, which will excel schools, districts, and communities. So again, it's that continuous process of we see what needs to change, we learn, we reflect, we get more questions, and it's just that cycle. That is the goal. The main steps of action research, and here is a diagram which is I really liked this visual. It helped me see it better. So step 1, you plan. You define the question that you have that you want to test. You research, you do a literature review, and then you design a process with systems and deadlines. Step 2, you do the experiment, you collect the data, quantitative and qualitative information. Step 3, you analyze, you organize the data in graphs and charts, you determine the trends, then you discuss with your peer, and even if it's an individual action research project, it's still best to discuss the results with maybe a mentor or a principal or department chair, something like that. And then of course you write the results. And 4th step is the conclusion. Share, reflect about your findings, and then you determine new questions, and then the process just repeats itself over and over again as new questions arise from your research. Action research versus traditional research. Action research is continuous, which I just stated. It goes over and over as new questions arise. It promises progress. The research findings cause change to improve the setting. Classroom, school is what we're talking about with education. And it's proactive. Traditional research is conclusive, comes to an end. You have data and results that form theories. It's reactive. And it's usually scientific, so it's in a lab or on university campus, such like that. So those are your main differences between traditional and action research. Common problems with action research. If there's no collegiality, meaning people work together in your department or school, the research is only going to affect one teacher, and it might not ever go outside the classroom, which is very sad. I feel like teachers really need to collaborate and help each other out. But if there is no collegiality in the department or school, then the research and findings and results is only going to stay in that classroom, which is not a good thing. Teachers have a lot going on already, but when they do action research, they have to balance their daily teaching obligations with all the planning, analysis, and reflection that comes with the research. Another problem is the ethical dilemmas that may arise that you did or did not consider, which again could take extra time because you're going to need to plan, analyze, reflect, and try again with changes. There are many ethical codes that you need to consider, students and their situations, which need to stay private if they're not already public. So those are just things you need to consider and could cause some problems. And the final one is you are dealing with human beings, mainly young human beings. So you're going to have obstacles, variables, things that you don't expect to occur. So those are a few of the common problems with action research. Evaluation of my own teaching. My teaching style is very hands-on. I do a lot of I do, we do, you do. And it's ever evolving as I try different techniques. I still consider myself young in my profession. I want to try more Kagan strategies and progressive techniques where the students discover their learning, problem solve, and better understand the why behind the process instead of me just teaching, telling them how to do it, and then they just do it repeatedly. So that's kind of where my teaching style is and where I hope it goes to. Action research would help me meet these goals in my classroom as I try new techniques, like I mentioned above, the Kagan and the progressive techniques, and see which ones are most beneficial for my students and my school. And what my learning said about this is action research is a type of ongoing professional development that helps develop expert teachers. Meaning like I want to try something, reflect on if it's good or bad, and repeat until I have effective teaching behaviors that stimulate student progress. And I really loved what that video called Action Research with the STEM learning had to say about that and how it really helps create expert teachers and how they use what they learn in the classroom, and then that stimulates student progress and student success. So that's kind of my evaluation on my teaching and how it ties in with action research. My own personal professional thoughts on action research. I used it back when I was at Truesdale, and I thought it was great. We used it when we did mastery learning, which was a teach, test, reteach, retest. So I have used it in that situation, and it helped perfect the process, which really changed our school in terms of the math teaching. As teachers, we should be ever learning and becoming better at our craft. Action research is definitely something I want to be more mindful of to increase student success in my classroom. So I definitely want to get more hands-on in using it. I feel like I have been using it, not always knowing, but again, I want to become that expert teacher. One concern I do have with using it is I want to make sure I handle ethical dilemmas correctly and don't cause any unnecessary tension and just follow those ethical codes. My past history with action research, as I mentioned, I used it with mastery learning. Our curriculum that we started using, Carnegie Learning, had this computer program called Mathia, and we used it to see, how many days a week kids should be doing Mathia to be truly understanding our new concepts. Some teachers were like the control groups that didn't do it at all, and then some of us started doing it 1 day a week, 2 days a week, so we definitely used action research there. Tardy systems at different schools, the 2 schools I've been at, we tried different systems, seeing, what made kids really care about getting to class on time. So definitely use action research there as well. It goes hand in hand with what I've learned from the research, from being very much an ongoing process. You're reflective of what you find, and then more questions arise and you do the whole thing again. But you have to take time to reflect, and then that improvement process will help increase student success. Finally, supporting the educational success and well-being of each student and adult regarding the components and standards that went along with this assignment. The first standard, standard 1, which was about mission, vision, improvement, component 1.2. Action research is an improvement process that includes the 4 pieces of this component: data use, design, implement, and evaluation. Teachers, schools, and districts use action research to better their instruction and promote student success. The second standard, Standard 4, which had component 4.1 through 4.4 about learning and instruction. All of those components, again, included those similar steps. They use the words evaluating, developing, and implementing in those components. Different systems in the schools, whether that be with technology, academic curriculum, or non-academic events. Action research helps us discover, while following best ethical practices, the top systems in those categories and more for our setting. It also helps teachers determine what necessary adjustments they need to make in these systems to work for their setting with their students. So again, that is how the components in the standard with this assignment support educational success with the student and the adult. And here are my references. I hope you enjoyed my presentation and learned something yourself, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much.